Hello dear friends and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video we will analyze few games in one specific opening called Vienna game or even Bishop's opening. Let's start. So I want to start with Emre Can Maxim Zarov game played in Dubai Open 2025 few days ago. So e4, e5, knight c3, knight f6, bishop c4, knight takes c4, queen h5, knight d6, bishop b3. In my YouTube channel you can find a video I analyzed Nicolas Teodoro Muhyiddin Madaminov game from Sharjah Masters. Bishop e7, and here in this position Nicolas went f2, f4. In this game we do have queen captures on e5, short castle, otherwise g7 is hanging. And here white is having a few moves. Emre played knight f3. I also checked some other moves. Like knight d5 does not really work because of rook e8, and black is already much better. d4 does not work because of knight c6, and now b5. With the idea is to go b4, a5, and now a4 is the strongest continuation. If white plays short castle, then a4, bishop d5, rook a5, threatening b4. If you take bishop c6, d takes c6, black is already slightly better. If a4, then b takes a, and bishop is coming to a6, white cannot really castle short side. Already some problems are there for white. Yes, b5, very important move. I also checked knight e2, which is possible. White does not get any problems, but also does not fight for any advantage. Knight c6, queen f4, knight a5, short castle takes, b6. Yes, I think it is slightly better for white to get the knight on f3 instead of e2. So knight f3 is the strongest continuation, and here I do recommend knight b8 to c6. Maxim Zarok probably didn't know or decided to have something very dubious, and he played bishop e7, f6. Strongest continuation is to go knight c6, queen f4, knight a5. Black is getting opponent's bishop, short castle you take, and rook e8. The main point is being that knight d5 does not really work because you just go bishop f8. Here white has several moves like d3, d4. Evaluation is around equality. So in this position, Maxim Zarok went bishop f6, and now after queen f4, white already has some advantage. White is threatening knight d5, also short castle, bishop is not perfectly placed on f6, and if you go rook e8, this is the main point behind attacking the queen on e5 with bishop e7, f6. But now king d1 move is also possible. Emre Can played king f1, and now a5, strongest continuation, always threatening some a4 or maybe even b7, b5, a4, and here the best move is to go b6. White has option of going knight d5, and white is slightly better. Knight a6, threatening some knight c5. Emrecan played d2, d4, stopping knight c5. Knight b4, g4, b6, g5, check, king g2. And here, the best would have been d4, d5. White went knight d5, attacking on f7, rook f8, bishop e3. Yes, and here black had few options in upcoming moves, but none of them is easy to figure out over the board if you are not aware of them. Like in this position, going rook c8, preparing c5, or bishop b7, and here instead of playing g6, b5. And now knight b5 does not work because after knight d5 black is much better, and after a takes b, black is pushing a4. Something insane. So g6 was played, h4, threatening h5, knight f5, bishop d2, knight g4. Black is under very serious pressure. h5, g takes h. If you go king h7, then h5 is coming. So knight h4 already loses the game, takes, and rook h1, threatening rook h4, and now d5. Very important move. And now takes. If you take queen h4, then queen d4 finishes the game. Rook f6, queen f6, otherwise queen g7. So takes, rook f5, check. Yes, here rook g4 would have been better. Bishop f4. And now bishop e5. White is close to winning. Even I would say white is winning. Rook g4, and here Maxim Tsarov could play rook f5. For some reason he didn't. Yes, and after rook f8, this is of course lost. Knight e4, attacking the queen. Now bishop takes. Yes, if you take, then just rook g6. And if d takes c, queen c3, threatening rook g5, protecting on f3. And now just rook g5. Takes. Yes, white is completely winning. King g8, rook takes d5, and Maxim Tsarov resigned. So let's go a little bit back. And let's say to the starting position almost. And here another game I want to show you was played between Nicolas Theodorou against Sava Vetokhin, very young Russian grandmaster. So it was knight c6, and here bishop c4. Knight f6 by Sava Vetokhin, d3. Here black is choosing between three moves: bishop b4, bishop c5, and knight a5. After bishop c5, white most likely should go knight f3, and we are having very symmetrical type of positions. If you go f4 after short castle, according to engines, black is doing okay. Yes, bishop b4 is very much possible. Here knight f3, white can continue. I analyze knight e2. Here I don't recommend d6 because after d6 a3, and then white is castling short side, maybe even f2 f4. Yes, the best is d5. Takes, knight takes d5. a3, just knight takes c3. Short castle. Here knight takes c3 is very much possible, but after b takes c, maybe some knight g3, f2 f4 ideas can be possible, some playable positions. So here I recommend for black bishop e6, bishop takes, f4, f6, f takes c, knight takes c5, and here if knight d5, queen d5, let's say knight f4, you can go queen d7, black is already slightly better. If something like d4, just knight g6. Black does not have any problems. Yes, here I guess the strongest is to go knight g1, f3, and we are having some new positions. So knight a5, and here I checked three moves, bishop b3, as Nicolas Teodoro played, queen f3 and knight e2. So if knight e2, bishop c5, short castle, at some point black should take on c4 and then d6. According to engines, black is okay, some equality. If you try queen f3 with the ideas later on to get your knight on e2, so here c6 is very interesting. Black does not rush with knight a5 takes c4 ideas, and now b5 and now b4, moving the knight away and then d5. Some equality, but I like black's position generally speaking. So bishop b3 by Teodoro, knight takes, a takes, d5, and here e takes d5 by Teodoro. So knight f3 is also very much possible. Black can go d4, knight e2, bishop d6, and very much playable position. c2, c3 is possible, h2, h3 is possible, of course short castle. Another move is d takes c, knight takes c5, and let's say e takes d, short castle. Of course d takes c does not work because of queen d8. You go bishop b7, and after knight d3 you should play bishop g4, otherwise if short castle, some queen f3 ideas are coming and you do have problems with development of your light squared bishop. That's why in this position bishop g4 I do recommend. Another option is to play bishop d6, knight c4, bishop b4, queen e2, we go short castle, d takes c b5, knight d2, a6, short castle, bishop b7. With some compensation, computers are saying black does not have any problems. And let's go back to our game Nicolas Teodoro played against Sava Vetochin. He takes d, knight takes d5, queen h5, knight b4, excellent move, queen e5, bishop e7, king d1, short castle, knight f3, bishop e6. So computers are saying equality. No doubts this position is much easier to play with the black pieces. After some moves, Teodoro got completely lost position, rook e8, and here, if I'm not mistaken, rook e1 is the strongest, queen d4, queen c8, good move, and again something like rook e1, but for sure no, not taking on a7. After c5, black is completely winning. And another small idea which has been played very recently by Fabiano Caruana against Vietnamese very strong grandmaster, wonderful time in an online game, a3. And here I checked some moves like g6, bishop c4 is possible. Yes, I also checked bishop c5, knight f6 is the strongest. If you try some bishop c5, knight f3 is the best. And now knight f6 does not work because of knight e5 typical idea. If you go d6, some knight e4 is there. a5 is the strongest, we take. And bishop b5 If bishop c4, queen d6 is the best, because after knight f6, d3, white is having advantage, queen d6, and if knight g5, knight d8. If bishop b5, knight d7, yes, d3 short castle. If knight d5, queen d4, very important move. Now after bishop c6, strongest is to take with the pawn, because if knight c6, knight takes c, queen e4, queen e2 is coming. And now with this completely ruined pawn structure, white can of course try a little bit. That's why b takes c, after bishop takes c6, and if knight c6 we are taking here, bishop e2, queen takes c6, playable position, short castle, white is having pair of bishops, but with precise play, black should achieve something close to equality. And if queen e2, we take, and now bishop d7, important move. Knight a7, we can take rook takes a7, knight e7, bishop takes b5, any move we take with the king on e7, if c4, bishop takes, and now very important move, bishop c4 to e6. And still, and again, we are having some equality after bishop c1, e3 move. So, strongest continuation according to computers is to continue knight f6, d3, and yes, you can play bishop e7, d5, bishop g5. Probably knew this, and he was counting on that Vietnamese player Wonderful Time will be scared in a rapid online game to push d4, and he was right. Here black is choosing between knight e7, even d4, knight d5, queen d6, or h6. Black is slightly better already. D takes c has been played, d takes c, and now white is already having some fresh position. Now strongest continuation is to go knight d4, bishop e7, white is choosing between queen takes d8 and bishop b5. In both lines, white is slightly better, takes, and here Fabi took on f6, the strongest would have been bishop h4, white is slightly better. So against this a3, I recommend knight f6 and d5, and here you just go knight e7 or even d4, knight d5. If you are very ambitious, you can play h6 or even queen d6, you are slightly better. Thank you very much, dear friends. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for my upcoming videos, and if you do have any comments, you are very much welcome to leave them in our comment section. Thank you very much.